This is the Brain Software Podcast emanating from Toronto, Canada. I'm Chris Thompson, and today, in episode 246, British Jiu-Jitsu and police trainer Mike Mandel and I are going to talk all about staying safe in an increasingly violent and crazy world. So stay tuned. This information could be life-saving.
Disclaimer, although we are convinced of the veracity of all we're presenting in this podcast, you should do your own research, and we accept no responsibility for the use or misuse of any of the techniques or methods we discuss today. Lucci.
Yo, what's up, Scro? It's me, man. People's physicist, Dave Ambrose, back. Just gave myself a 10th degree black belt in ambrosia, my own self-defense method. The key is you just keep buying your assailant glasses of high-end whiskey until they black out. It's really far out, pouch. But whatever happened at the quantum level to that old tranquility that you never find when you implode PU-239?
These are days of victory. So welcome to the School of Hypnotic Survival. Our own forensic hypnotist, our own hypnotic Sherlock Holmes, and the Keith Richards of hypnosis, ladies and gentlemen, Mike Mandel.
Yes.
And in conclusion,
Excellent,
I'd like to say...
Thank you, ChatGPT.
Let's say that right. Let's
Well,
get
go
that
ahead.
out of the way. Okay,
Why not?
so
We can do anything we want.
Yeah, of course
We're
we
at
can.
work.
We're at work right now.
Right now.
Okay, guys, check this out. So we've been having fun playing around with ChatGPT, and one of the things that we noticed that it does that's odd is it always summarizes whatever it says with "in conclusion," and it's the most boring. No one writes that way anymore. You're taught to do that in English, I suppose. But
I think so.
In conclusion, so we're going to start using this, and we challenge you to do it too. Whenever you finish saying something, or maybe when someone else finishes saying something. You jump in with the in conclusion
and
pattern interrupt.
You blade the hand as you
and
do.
in conclusion.
Yeah, beautiful.
And then you offer your quick summary. It's hilarious. So try it out, see
Brilliant.
how it goes, and let's continue.
Well, as we record this today, it's 3 days to Christmas Eve.
Yeah, and by the time it goes live, it's late January.
It'll be June next year. But let's go through our think tank words, which are all generated on the fly by Savo Bukacek's amazing think tank.
And then before we do that, give me a preclusion, not conclusion, of what's to come. Why are people going to want to stay tuned and listen to you?
I'm bringing a wealth of information, guys. I've been a police trainer for years. Well, look at this in detail, why I'm qualified to teach you this. I'm going to show you how to protect yourself, how to avoid problems, and how to have a better life by being safe from harm and your family, too.
So a little bit of an unusual change here. We're not going to talk so much about communication.
Put it in the personal development side.
Yeah, I may force some of that into the
That's
conversation.
fine. Feel free.
Yes, since it's all about use of force. All right,
Scary thing was using
let's
special
go.
language.
So first the three
The mailbag.
All right. Oh, no, we didn't do the 3 words yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to? Yeah.
Correspondent.
Guilefulness.
And proposal.
Okay, correspondent.
Okay.
Well, I think of a foreign correspondent, someone who's in a different country and they're writing about what's going on there. You get them in all the major newspapers.
Yeah, think of it like gathering information from an area that you're not currently exposed to or something like that. So correspondent could also lend itself to things like consultant, right? You're gathering information on a topic to improve your knowledge base.
Okay, I'll go with that. Guilefulness.
Don't even know what that means.
Well, guile is clever, covert activity, sneakiness. In fact, the SBS, SAS, but SBS motto is not by strength, but by guile.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
okay, so
sneakiness
adding some appropriate guilefulness to your life.
You're getting a
could
lot
be
of
useful.
guile here. We are
Right.
the guile guys.
That's amazing. I like it.
That's my proposal to you.
We're gonna ask the generator, the image generator in
Yeah.
ChatGPT to create us a logo for the Guile guys. That'd be funny.
I will take that on personally.
Yeah. Oh man.
So we're going to work these in. We will correspond with you with what we discover. And I said, that is my proposal. I went, I just used the word.
Okay, there you go. We'll
All right,
skip it because I think proposal. We're going to propose to you that we're going to move forward now and hope that you forgive us for not spending too much time on the ridiculous stuff.
Correct. Now, mailbag. We got an email. We like to read these occasionally when they benefit everyone. We told the person we're just using the first name. So, Chris, read the email.
All right. So this is a question from. We'll just call her L. Her first name starts with an L. So
I was calling her Leanne. I took her last name out.
Okay, fine. Good enough. Leanne. We're going to leave the last names out. Hi, Mike and Chris. I have a question that I would love you to answer on your podcast if it is appropriate. I've had your self-hypnosis course in my MMH library for years and have not looked at it until recently. And of course, I absolutely love it. And I should have looked at it a long time ago. There's a lot of should-haves in life, but good thing you're looking at it now. Anyway, I would like to know if I can use self-hypnosis to recall blocked memories. Now, this is where it gets interesting. I like this. My mother died of cancer. I don't like that, but I like the question.
Specificity.
My mother died of cancer when I was 7 years old. I'm 48 now, and I have no memories of her at all. I have obviously blocked them as it was too difficult for me to deal with, and up until recently did not want to know anything about her because I prefer to not know what I missed out on. Hopefully that makes sense. Yes, it does. I was speaking to some of my cousins recently who have very fond memories of my mother, and now I feel I'm missing out more by not remembering. Is there any way I can tap into these memories again?
Leanne, what a great question. This is interesting because let me address this initially by saying, I probably mentioned in another podcast, and we've done so many I can't possibly recall, but I used to raise white mice when I was a little boy, and special cage and everything. I also had a cat right up until I was 18. And I can't remember what happened to any of them. They just disappeared out of my life. Now, this is a cat we had for 12, 14 years. Close to this cat, very smart, tough scrapper, orange cat. Honey was his name, honey-colored cat. He just disappeared out of my life. I can't remember why, and I can only presume my brain, because of the grief of losing the cat, because I'm an allurophile, a cat lover, it somehow became too painful to deal with. So I have a complete blank spot. I had to write to my sister, who's 7 years older than me, and ask her, what happened to the cat? And I can't remember anyway. I've obviously deleted it again. It is not unusual for the unconscious mind to shield the conscious awareness from things that are extremely painful. And so I have taken the point of view with the cat and the mice and everything. I just left it alone. It's not going to affect my life. But your mother is a totally different matter. And whether you could do this with self-hypnosis or not remains to be seen. Remember, no memory is accurate, not a single one, because every time we access a memory, we change it. But it might be workable for you if you worked with a therapist trained in hypnosis and see if you can trigger hypermnesia and begin to remember some of these things as things in your life help you recall. Also, anything you have that takes you back to before age 7, any toys or a book or something, may be a key to gaining some of that information again.
For an anchor. Yeah, that's a great point.
It may be possible. We don't know. And you'll never know unless you give it a shot. Through self-hypnosis, not as likely as working with a good hypnotherapist, but it still may be possible if you can unlock those memories.
Yeah, I think you're making some really good points here.
Thanks.
Let's expand on them a bit, and then we'll dive into our main topic. So with self-hypnosis, you being the hypnotist, and you can really only go into trance and set the intention to recall positive and helpful memories from the past. And you may or may not. Anything that you do recall, even if it was with an heterohypnosis, someone else hypnotizing you and giving you the suggestions, where, coming back to my main point, probably there's a bit more flexibility that hypnotist will be able to observe and calibrate and maybe draw out some information that you wouldn't have thought to do, that your unconscious might not have even thought to do. So that can be a useful set of resources for that other person, right?
Right, definitely.
But any memories that do come up, you won't know if they're real, which leads me to a question for you, and I know I proposed this in my email answer originally. Even if you don't know if the memory is true, does it even matter?
No, not if it's satisfying to her and fulfills a need in her life. Yeah.
Let's imagine a world where we knew that all of the memories that would come back would be 100% false, just to lay out a fake scenario.
Okay.
So we know it's going to be completely fake memories that come back because her brain, for some reason, it's not working correctly and cannot reestablish the actual memories.
Or doesn't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In that case, knowing that, it would still be ecological to offer suggestions that those memories would come back, knowing they'd be false, provided that they were helpful. And we would craft direct suggestions and metaphors and guided imagery or age regression, I should say, not regression to cause, but like regression to awesomeness.
Yeah.
Regression to memories, and let the brain make up the memories that are useful.
While you're on that point, the method I would recommend that any hypnotherapist uses is my forensic hypnosis method. It's great for any lost memory. So there's a whole pattern there, and it's all over our academy, isn't it?
So bottom line is, it's a good idea, it's probably a good idea to get some help to do it. You can't guarantee the accuracy of any of the memories. And who cares?
Right,
As long
who
as they
cares?
serve you well.
And also, an alternate method might be using idiomotor signals to find memories, run them unconsciously,
Yeah.
and then see if they can come back to the
And it might be fun to go in
surface.
with some content that your unconscious mind will be armed with by speaking to your cousins and finding out what are some of these awesome stories that you've heard that you'd like to know more about.
Right, use them
That
as a
might
foundation.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
may
yeah.
seed something. They're not going to tell you horrendous stuff. They're going to tell you the good stuff.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Excellent. Good luck to you, Leanne.
All right.
Hope it works out.
Cool.
So why this podcast? The world is becoming crazier and crazier, more violent all the time. I just thrown in 3 quick examples
Yeah.
from Toronto. Toronto, they used to call it Toronto the Good in the 50s and 60s because so many people went to church on Sundays. Bars were closed on Sundays. It was a totally different world back then and very Leave It to Beaver, sort of unnatural in that sense. But now there was a woman at a subway station in Toronto, Kennedy Station, sitting on a bench, woman in her 50s. She was beaten, they said, within an inch of her life by 2 12-year-old girls
Oh,
who
geez.
attacked her for something to do. There was people being pushed onto the subway tracks, a number of them recently in front of trains. There was a man stabbed on a bus by a total stranger. He's sitting on the bus looking out the window. A guy just comes over and starts stabbing him. It's crazy, crazy stuff. So, and this is Toronto, which is not considered to be a part of the world with high crime. So we think there's a need here to show people, to teach people how you can be safe from a lot of this stuff. And you should always qualify as an expert. One should. And I'm saying, why am I teaching this? Well, I taught seminars at the Ontario Police College, to the RCMP in Regina, Saskatchewan, the headquarters. I taught Virginia Department of Criminal Justice twice, New York State Troopers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Consulted on major crimes, armed robberies, sex offenses, homicides. I've done forensic hypnosis. And I taught hand-to-hand combat to British soldiers in England and to 50 Ontario Provincial Police defensive tactics instructors. So, guys, I'm coming at this from a foundation, not a guy who's watched a bit on YouTube. I've done this stuff. So, and Chris is...
I've been on the receiving end of it a few
Chris is an
times.
instructor in British Jiu-Jitsu, too. So we will include insights from experts like Gavin DeBecker, my friend Doug Ashton, who I haven't seen in a few years, my other friend Alan Bell, and Gavin DeBecker is a security specialist, and he gives great information. He wrote The Gift of Fear, which is a stellar book. Doug Ashton was with Peel Regional Police, another instructor. He let people hose him down with pepper spray just to prove he was tough enough to fight back. And he's yelling, "You son of a bitch," and just attacking a guy with it.
I am
It was
not
amazing.
getting into a fight with that guy.
And Doug's just a normal guy. I actually got him in a choke at the Hicks and Gracie seminar, which is great because he's a second dan in Kempo, but I managed to maneuver and get the hooks in.
Nice.
Also, Alan Bell, my friend who I just saw this week. Alan is ex-British SAS. His company, Global Risk, is brilliant. He protected the Pope when he was in Toronto. Guy's got stellar qualifications. So the stuff we're giving you will work in the real world. But the problem is, the number one problem is we find that most people are oblivious to their surroundings. They don't know what's going on around them. They'll sit there staring at a phone. You know, they're not looking at who's around them as they're walking down the street, walking across roads with the phone in their hand.
Yep.
People are oblivious. They go into the wrong kind of places at the wrong times. I said they park in dangerous places, walk around in strange cities and environments without knowing what's happening around them, and they send the wrong signals to people.
Mm-hmm.
They send the signals, I'm unaware, I'm a victim, and that draws criminals like a freaking candle flame draws moths.
Do you think there is some relatedness to the topic of tourists looking like tourists? And,
Totally. You should look like a
walking
local. around
with your fanny pack
Oh,
and your
God.
cam. Not so much anymore because we all use our phones for that's normal. But you know the old what's the word I'm looking? Stereotype of
Yep.
the
Stereotype.
tourist who's
Stereotype.
got lots of fun to play stereotype.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got his Nikon and his camera lens, and he's
Yeah.
got his fanny pack, and he's got his freaking
Yeah.
like I don't know guest visitor badge or something. And what else might he have? His flashlight and no, I'm kidding, not a
Everything,
flashlight.
you know, and
Map. Oh, have a map.
draws
right.
attention.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's any display of wealth too will do that. I was in Paris at a market with Heather. We're walking through the market, and there's a guy ahead of us in this beautiful, expensive camel hair coat. It looked like Armani or something with his wife. He's an older guy, quite a big guy. And someone walking by him, a guy walking by with a lit cigarette in his hand, brushes against his shoulder, and he goes, "What?" And the guy, oh, like they're putting it out. Meanwhile, the other guy dips his pocket. The other guy,
Yeah.
and the guys run away with it.
Yeah,
and
the
Heather
distraction.
said, "You should go after." I said, He's already passed it off to someone else by now. That's how pickpockets work. There'll be 3 of them or 4. He's running that way. A woman's coming the other way. He passes it to her as he runs. She drops it in her purse, gets on a bus, gives it to another guy. And there's no way of tracing it. But it was distraction. It's the typical pickpocket thing. Pressure somewhere else. Our brain looks there, and this is gone.
I remember when we were at Hypnothoughts Live in Las Vegas. I think it was Richard Clark's final year before he...
I dipped him, didn't I?
Yeah, he exited the organization. He was sort of moving on into retirement. And we were just saying bye to him. And you did that to him. You were, oh, buddy, good to see you. And you grabbed his cell phone without him knowing. And then just as we all finished the hugging and the crying, and you said, oh, I should probably give you your phone back. And he's just, you bastard.
It's fantastic. You know who's really good at this is Michael C. Anthony. I think he can get a watch without the person noticing, which is not easy to do. So the problem here is people lack what is called situational awareness. They don't know if they're in dangerous areas. They're not aware of the surroundings. So you have to have not only situational awareness, but you have to develop accurate threat assessment.
Okay,
as well.
So you've got a color code system for this.
Yes,
right?
I came up with this years ago, and some people are using it. The color code system is 4 colors: green, yellow, orange, and red.
Oh, like traffic lights.
You teach this to your family and your friends, and this gives you a code you can use with them. If you can say orange, your friends immediately know what that means. Now, green means all is well. There are no perceived threats. Doesn't mean there are no threats, but it means nothing is showing up in your spider sense, on your radar to let you know there's a problem. So green is where you always want to be. A number of years ago, I was in Las Vegas with Heather, and the many times we've been there, walking down the road off the strip, and my brain triggers yellow. And I looked around and realized it was getting more run down. And I thought, okay, when you're in yellow, your aim is always to get back to green immediately. Now, sometimes you can go through yellow if it's short distance to get back to green quickly, but you never willingly go into orange or red. So yellow, we turn around and go back, and I said, I just had a bad vibe there. You and I had this in Schenectady. We had that amazing dinner
right
with Timothy September and his family, and we're standing there in Schenectady. We both got suits on with freaking bow ties or something.
Yeah, no, we were wearing jackets or whatever. But we were dressed nicely. And it was definitely getting into later in the evening, and
Standing
it was a weekday,
corner.
I think. And I said to you, it's only like 1.5 kilometers. Do you want to walk back to the hotel, right? And you looked around and
went to yellow right away.
Yep, immediately. And I hadn't been paying attention. So I look around and I go,
you're right.
Yep.
Yeah. So we get back to green. We got an Uber back. And the thing is, Enneagram 8, we have the most accurate threat assessment of the Enneagram. Case in point, Les Burton, my friend who died 15 years ago, he had a house in Greeley near Ottawa. And if I worked Carleton or University of Ottawa or Algonquin, I'd stay at his place and then drive home the next day. I get in late at night, just left the door open for me. The place is dark. There's a light on in the kitchen in the distance. And when I get there, I walk through the door and my freaking spider sense went off. And I went, Les, you're behind the couch. And he stood up. He said, Mike, that's impossible. How could you possibly? There was one spot someone could hide. And I knew there was just something in the vibe of the room that wasn't correct. So that's green, all is well, no threats. Yellow, something feels off. Now, Gavin de Becker calls it the gift of fear. The gift of fear is your body and your brain are telling you this. You should listen to these nudges because it's prompting you. Your unconscious mind is bringing in way more information than your conscious mind. So something's off, something doesn't look or sound right. What's your job? Get back to green right away.
Yeah.
If you get to orange, now things are starting to go off the rails. You have to exit the area immediately because distance creates safety with everything from hand grenades and knives to atomic bombs. You want to set distance between you and where you are.
So yellow could be, there's strange people in the area that don't look like
something feels
they
wrong.
like, I think I'm a potential victim here or whatever. Orange would be maybe somebody has now come up to you and started talking to you that makes you uncomfortable.
Or a couple of people are shouting across the road, and now they start coming towards you. And that's orange now. Now things are getting
you're
maybe
not
dangerous.
in a situation yet, but you're a freaking about to be.
And red is a situation. You might be severely injured or killed. So you avoid red. You never go up the scale on purpose unless it's to yellow just to get back to green. So the power of this is if you all know it, now you know every detail. And we're in Schenectady. I could have said to you, this is yellow. And you'd go, yep. And then we get out right away.
Yeah, and an Uber, that's green again.
So always get back to green as soon as possible and teach it to your friends and your family. Illustrations. A woman in a crowd. A video was shown to known criminals in the prison system.
Oh, yeah.
Violent
Who
criminals.
would you
rapists.
go after?
Yeah, and they
right?
just said, watch a video of a busy street. And every one of them in the busy street picked the same woman. And the reason why, she was walking around sort of asymmetrically, Nimnu, eyes wide open, life is wonderful, paying zero attention. They both saw her as a victim immediately.
Yeah.
People
so what's
with
the solution for that as we
learn
go?
situational awareness.
Or B, don't present yourself as...
Oh, yeah. And we'll get to
Right?
that, how
Yeah.
to present
Okay, cool.
yourself.
Got you.
People with earbuds or staring at their phones, it's dangerous. If you can do it in, small towns, if you know where you are, but sitting on, on a subway car with the earbuds in and you're in the middle and your back is open to the rest of the car, that's a stupid thing to do. Heather's friend Jane in Toronto walks through at night alone through this horrible parking lot to get to her car, takes a shortcut, like going into really bad areas, just, Nimnu, oblivious. The spider sense I said in Schenectady, and Mike at Les's house. Now, Gavin DeBecker talking about the gift of fear. He says true fear is a gift, and that's what we're talking about. This spider sense
Protects you.
Unwarranted fear is a curse. You have to learn to tell the difference. Now, Enneagram 6s have the worst threat assessment on the Enneagram. The reason why is they're always switched on.
Yeah.
Everything is perceived as a threat.
So it's always the boy who cried wolf kind of situation.
Yes. If everything is a threat, you can't tell the real ones. They're not standing up in the background.
Them. You can't prioritize.
Correct. And it's exactly the same. There is no difference.
I might be late for this job interview, is on equal footing to I'm walking through a
someone's chasing me with an axe. Yeah. No, and the
Thank
thing
you.
is,
Much better than what I was going to say.
The metaphor I use for this is going through metal detectors in
Airports?
Airports, yeah. You said hospitals.
Yeah.
In airports, because
cells?
if they have the sensitivity set too high, you'll notice everybody's setting it off.
Yeah,
then they have
your
to search
earring will
everyone.
set it off.
Well, if you're setting off everybody, if everybody's setting this thing off, why use it? Why not just search everybody?
Yeah. It's like when you go through those stores and sometimes they have the whatever they're detecting the tag that was left on the T-shirt or something, and so many of these stores end up having equipment that malfunctions and people forgetting to take the tags off, and they've been trained to just they don't even react. It's just
crazy.
Ignore.
Speaking of which, Michael C. Anthony and I in Florida, when we're going into a store and a guy walked out through one of those. No, as he did, I went, and he turned around. I said, "Step away from the store, please, sir." And he thought I was security. I wear shorts and tattoos. He said, "Okay." I said, "Just kidding." And we went in just laughing. I can do the whistle if my mouth's not dry really, really well. Okay. Now let's get
so
some.
funny.
Alan Bell. I said Gavin DeBecker. Alan Bell, ex-SAS. He said, if you get into a situation, it's because you screwed up. Oh, how can you say that? I didn't know he was going to. Because you made moves and maneuvers and were unaware, and you put yourself in a dangerous situation.
100%.
We had a guy coming back from a Seder dinner at a Jewish house, friends of ours, a number of years ago, last year. And as we pulled up at an intersection, Heather was driving, said had some whiskey with the guys, and we're having a laugh. She agreed to be the DD.
Yeah.
So it's about 10:30 at night. We stop, north end of the city, at the lights. Guy behind us parks his car, puts in park, gets out, and comes to the window and starts talking to her through the window. And she said, "What's it?" I said, "Go, just go. Don't stay there talking to him. There's no reason for him to be talking to you through the window."
Yeah.
So we just drove away fast. But you've got to be aware, like opening the window and saying what or getting out would be stupid. That would be screwing up. So practical applications. We're going to fly through these.
Yes, we are.
Keep your house doors locked, or your home, apartment, whatever, always. Daytime too, always.
Yeah.
I was lying down taking a nap on the couch one afternoon with the cat. Heather's out, the car's gone, and I heard the side door open, and I heard someone try the door.
Yeah.
In broad daylight. Some people brag and say, "Oh, we never even lock our doors." I'm thinking, well, you're a freaking idiot. Case in point, Heather's brother Bruce, the brother-in-law I like. You met him.
Yes.
So, yeah, he had a girlfriend years ago, Cheryl. She had a brand new white, fully loaded Trans Am. It looked amazing with the gold trim and the eagle on the hood.
Left the doors unlocked?
Oh, no, worse. It was locked. It was parked in Bruce's driveway, where his parents lived, too. The family lived there. So this would be, I guess, early 80s. And they wake up in the morning, Cheryl stayed there, and her car was gone. The guy had gone into the house while everyone was asleep, found the keys, and driven it away.
Wow.
And Bruce they called the cops, and Bruce found the guy on a parking lot showing up to his friends, like punched his.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, it is. Now, anyway, so lock your door. Talk about the witching hour, Chris.
Well, the witching hour, you've taught me this. So I think we call the witching hour anytime after 11.
11,
right?
yeah.
11 p.m. Now, maybe that's a little bit different if you are like my daughter who's in university and
Right.
you're practically just going out at 11, and I don't have any concerns with her walking down the main street near her apartment building where all the other kids are and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So adjust as necessary. But the idea here being there is a certain hour after which, if you're out, you're just much, much more likely to deal with trouble.
Well, let's make it, yes, you're correct. The premise is this. You should always attempt to get to where you're going and be there by 11 p.m.,
By 11,
whether it's
exactly.
home or whatever. Because after 11 p.m., the chance of violent encounters begins to climb really, really rapidly. And it peaks probably, I think, around 1 or 2 a.m. I'm not
Yeah,
sure about that.
yeah.
And after about 3 a.m., it starts to fade again. That time, the witching hour, is when you don't want to be wandering around
When
scary places.
It's dark, right?
Yep.
Criminals are going to be more out
Yep.
in the dark, more likely. More likelihood of somebody using drugs or alcohol. More likelihood of emotions being on high.
Sure.
Which is going to cause people on drugs or who are criminals to do stupid things.
Yep.
So,
Well,
yeah.
here's a classic example. Our friend Paul on vacation in Mexico. He's in a resort. And I teach people, if you're in a resort,
You're good.
Stay in the resort.
Yes.
That will protect you. You know, they have security and everything. Well, Paul asks a woman, he went out at 11 p.m. into the city on foot by himself.
Yeah.
And he'd been
Just went
drinking.
for a walk.
Just went for a walk.
Yeah,
He's been
probably had a
drinking.
few
So he goes for a
drinks.
walk and he said, you know, he's in our jiu-jitsu class and he said, I knew if there was a problem, I could handle it. Well, I'm going, bro, you can't
Don't
handle
think
it.
so.
You can't handle it in class. And he said, well, I asked if it was safe, and they said yes. I said, who said it was safe? He said, oh, a woman from Edmonton, Alberta. I said, did you ask the staff? Well, no, but she seemed to know. Okay, so you ask a
right.
stranger who doesn't live there. She says it's safe. He goes for a walk at 11 p.m.
I just want to point out the woman from Edmonton, Alberta, probably went for a walk with people in
the
daylight.
daytime. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, it's really nice around here. Goes for the walk. Paul gets mugged.
Brick hit in the head, right?
And he got his orbit, the bone around his eye was fractured. His arm was broken. He has titanium put in it now. He was severely injured. They robbed him, and he looked horrendous.
And
All avoidable.
He's lucky they didn't intend to kill
Oh,
him.
he could have been killed. He said one of them had a machete under his shirt.
He could have been killed simply through the attack, but they weren't intending to kill him, clearly.
No.
They were just intending to rob him
yeah,
and beat him up.
Which is terrible. Anyone being beaten up is horrible. And he went through a lot of pain. Unnecessary. Alan Bell thing. He screwed up. That's why this happened.
Absolutely, he screwed up. Yeah,
Now,
he knows it, too.
You should always know where you are going and find out about it. We know another guy went to Medellin, Colombia on vacation for a month. I said to another friend, well, that's very dangerous. That's, Colombian drug central. And he said, oh, no, there's no crime anymore. They put all those guys in jail. And I
Sure
said,
they did.
And of course, no one has filled that criminal power vacuum at all. So he goes there for a month. Oh, he's great. He's having a wonderful time. Has a party in his apartment that he was renting the night before he goes home. And the people at the party, well, he can't remember it that much. He was drugged, beaten up severely. They stole his laptop, his ID,
Cell
his
phone.
passport, got into his bank account and looted it in Canada. Absolutely everything because he went somewhere stupid and did an idiotic thing. Avoidable again.
Yeah.
So what about it? If you're going somewhere, don't wear flashy jewelry, flashy clothes. Oh, you want to look great.
Oh, yeah, you don't-
dress like a local.
You don't go to pay for your...
With a thick wad of $100
grab
bills.
your money
Yeah.
out. Oh,
Definitely. So on vacation, look more like a local if you can. Don't look like you're Mr. Stupid Tourist. And if you have a hotel room, what I do is I always put the do not disturb sign on the door. So they always think you might be in there. And if I'm out for an evening in Las Vegas, or as we go for hypnothoughts, as we often do, I turn on the TV so you can hear it from the hallway.
Yeah.
It sounds like someone's in the room. They're going to bypass you.
yeah, good point.
In Dallas, Texas, Backwards Bob and I, we did a gig in Texas, went out to a place called the Headrest at Cowboys. We had this crazy thing and got back to our room. We were sharing a room at the Ramada. And I wake up in the night. He's fast asleep. I said, Bob, he wakes up in his bed. And we look across. Notice I tell you we're in different beds. Yeah. Not there's anything wrong with it. Not
You
there's anything
don't
wrong
share
with it.
hotel rooms anymore. You're beyond that
No,
part
but
of
certainly,
your life.
yeah. I couldn't afford it then. And the door of our room at the Ramada was wide open.
Ooh.
Like wide open and the wind was blowing in. This is out to the parking
Unusual.
lot. Yeah. So that was
Yeah.
weird. If you're going anywhere, and you're going to be coming back later, make sure you have your phone and that it's charged, fully charged. Make sure your gas tank of your car never drops below 1/2. That should be your indicator. Not, I probably get another 20 miles. And no, when
What is this
get
gas
freaking
tank
Tesla,
thing
don't
you
pay any
think about?
attention.
What
to
is a gas tank?
So half full, that should be your trigger to fill it. And I'll give you the example. 3 weeks ago, my wife is driving north of the city. She's got a flip phone still. She can't text. She has no map information. I said, take your phone. She's going up to see some friends north of the city, an hour north. Take your phone. Oh, no, I'm going to be back. Take your phone. I get a phone call. My Subaru's broken down. Just by fluke, right up on Ravensview. I had to call CAA for her, the Automobile Club, get the guy to find her, and that was the case. If she did not have her phone, she'd be on a deserted road in farmland, would have to get out of the car.
Yeah, not a good situation. Yeah.
Right.
Well, even just driving, 20, 30 minutes or something, if it's winter, my car, the heat's going to be on. Bring a hat and gloves and a jacket,
totally.
even if you throw in the
I
back
got a
seat.
survival kit, man. I got a spetsnaz shovel. I can take somebody's head off with that.
Yeah.
Not that I would.
I know
unless
what
I
you're
had
talking
to.
about, yeah.
Well, the thing is, too, anywhere you're going, my wife goes out shopping in the afternoon, and I say, where are you going, and when can I expect you to be home?
Bingo, yeah.
Because if, God forbid, she goes missing, I want to be able to say to the police, here's where she was going, here's what the cars, here's when I thought she'd be back. Brian McDowell, very good friend of mine, and we give you a shout out, Brian. His aunt, Marion McDowell, in the 1950s, disappeared off the face of the earth. She was at a Lover's Lane thing in Scarborough, and her boyfriend was hit over the head, knocked out. They brought in guys from Scotland Yard in England to try to solve it. The boyfriend undertook lie detector tests in Buffalo. He was innocent. She disappeared, has never been seen again. The Marion McDowell case is famous because that case united the Scarborough Police Force into the Toronto Police Force.
I don't think I've ever heard that one before.
Yeah, and people disappear. You have to be aware. Make sure somebody knows where you're going to be. Trust your gut sense. Do not ignore the signals that your unconscious is giving you. I was in England once with Heather and another couple. We're all walking, and then my spider sense goes off to yellow, and I start seeing everybody's going the same way in the street. Nobody's going the other direction. Everybody, and it's getting crowded, more and more crowded. People are moving towards an event. Then I start seeing really rough-looking skinheads and that, all moving, all concerted. So there's some rally or something.
We're going the other way.
So we're going the other way.
Yeah.
So we did. Trust it. It doesn't matter. Avoiding problems is the best thing.
We're going to have to speed through these, man.
We're going to do it.
There's so much
If you're on
stuff
public
here.
transit, sit with your back to the wall. Don't sit where you're open to being choked out or have your throat cut. Scan the other people when you get on. If someone looks weird, get off or go to another car in
just
the
move.
train.
Right.
Park in brightly lit areas all the time, meaning if you have to park somewhere, avoid underground parking lots. They're dangerous unless you're with someone else. And check the back seat when you get in your car. People hide in people's cars and wait for you to get in, and then they've got you. If you think you're being followed and you're in your car, here's what you do. Make 4 right turns. If they follow you in the first one, the second, the third, now you're going back, now you know you're being followed. What do you do then? Drive to a police station. Ask your phone where the police station is. Just drive there. They won't follow you in. If a car follows you and you're on foot, my mom was followed. She was on foot and she didn't know what to do. Here's what you do. Cross the road. It has to make a U-turn. Cross the road again.
Becomes obvious.
It becomes obvious.
Yeah.
And lock your door immediately every time you get in your car. That's the first thing. I get in even in the daytime because it's a habit. Locked. The doors are locked now. This gives you reactionary time. You need space. You need time to react and to plan and decide what you're going to do, even if it's only for a few seconds. And I taught friends of mine LIFO. And LIFO is a really interesting thing in the security community. It means last in, first out.
It's an accounting principle as well.
Tell me.
Usually it's first in, first out. It's how you account for inventory.
Yeah, this is last in, first out. If you're going somewhere with your girlfriend, if you're a guy with your spouse, whatever, you're the last one in the car. You get her in the car, shut the door, then you go and get in yourself.
Yeah.
And you're the first out. You get out. If there's any threat, then she gets out.
That's their inventory. The inventory is people in this case.
Brilliant.
And you're going to be the last in, and you're going to be the first
That's why
out.
they pay in the
You're
big
protector.
bucks.
There you go. Yeah.
Now, thinking that you're in a crowd so you're safe is not true anymore. Crowds are no longer safe.
Well, certainly for the fur coat guy that got robbed, it's an opportunity to be for the bad people to be hidden among that crowd.
Yes,
right?
and also there's the dangerous thing of shared responsibility.
Yeah.
There have been cases where someone is attacked and is pleading for help,
Nobody
and the
will
crowd
help.
stands around and watches. In fact, now they film you on YouTube.
Oh, no, this shouldn't be happening.
It's ridiculous. But think about it. They have shared responsibility. It's the old thing of a guy gets on a beach, puts his towel down, his case of beer, whatever, and he has this big boom box and he sets it down and he says to someone, could you keep an eye on that? I'm grabbing an ice cream cone. Oh, okay. Someone comes who's also in on the scam, goes to, not scam, but it's a psychological test.
It's an experiment.
Tries to pick it up, and the person will actually chase them because they have the responsibility. But if he doesn't say anything, people will watch the guy steal it, and nobody will react because they are sharing the responsibility.
Yeah, like if the same experiment had been done with, hey, can you guys please keep an eye on my stuff, and then just walk away?
Yeah,
no one will actually own it. And this also makes me think
point it
of
out to one, you assign it.
The old line I keep hearing whenever I go to a subway station. You hear like in the Toronto subway, and this says, "Please use all available doors." You're like, that's a shared responsibility comment. How am I going to use all available doors? That's one individual. Anyway, it's funny. It just makes me laugh.
Now, notice who is around you. This is a situational awareness, and especially notice if you're being followed on foot. I use the windows of things around me automatically. Shadows, if I go under a street light, I'm looking at my shadow, and I'm seeing if another one comes up near me. It's just I do it unconsciously. In a mall, or look at windows in stores, get reflections. Notice if someone's following you. My wife was followed in 3 Winners stores in the same day. She's a 6. She sends off victim things if she's not careful. Victim signals, right? Winners. She goes to these stores, goes to one in one mall. There's a weird guy there. She sees him. Goes to the next Winners. He shows up there. When it was the 3rd time, then she knew he was following her. And we say, once is happenstance, twice is coincidence, 3 times is enemy action. And I taught her this. And you know how she dealt with it? She stopped in the store, turned and made eye contact and stared at him. And he knew she was onto her, and he left the store right away. People are looking for a victim. They're not looking for somebody. My wife had that happen in
a grocery store where somebody just was awkwardly close. And
Enneagram
she
6.
turned right to him at some point and said, "Can I help you with something?"
That's brilliant. That's it. Confront, open it up. Notice who is around you, especially if you're being followed. If you're in a mall and you think someone's following you, go into a store and tell them. Say, someone's following me. Can you call store security? And they'll get someone there to help you. That's their job. Or the police.
Bring in the mall cops.
Walk with purpose.
Oh, yeah.
Swing your arms.
Language.
Put your shoulders back. Victims send signals. Criminals don't want to fight. They want an easy victim who they can rob or whatever they're planning on doing.
By the way, being in good shape is probably a good idea.
It's on the list.
Reason. Yeah,
it's
there
on
we
the
go.
list.
All right. Well, let's cover it now.
Okay. Being in good shape, because if you have to fight, you want to be the fittest you can be.
And you also don't want to look like you're a victim. And if you're in shape, you don't look like a victim.
That's right. And that's very interesting because, most fights are over in 10 seconds or less because the advantage the criminal has is they attack first.
100%.
They know it's on and you don't. And you got to be fit if you're going to survive. If you're carrying a lot of cash, hide some in a different pocket, a hidden pocket, or inside a sock with your ID. So if you're robbed, you can give them a small amount and pretend that's all you have. If you're in an underground parking lot, this is counterintuitive, but it's important. Walk down the middle of the aisle. Don't walk near the cars. This gives you awareness. Masada Ayub said, awareness buys you time and gives you options.
Yeah.
If someone's going to attack you, they have to come out from the car and know you got time to draw your weapon or whatever it is. And Heather was in an underground parking lot years ago. She got in the car. As she goes to close the door, there's a guy inside the door already. She hadn't seen him, and he was asking for money or something. Oh. But he was between the door and her. She was sitting down. She couldn't close the door.
That's freaky.
Very freaky. Yeah. It's called screwing up. And women, listen to this. This can save your life. If you're in an underground parking lot or an above ground parking lot and someone goes to attack you, practice getting down flat as fast as you can. I can do it really quick, almost like doing a burpee. I can drop face down. Roll underneath a car or any other vehicle, hang onto the undercarriage, and scream your head off. In the history of the world, no woman has ever been raped underneath a car.
Yeah.
Get under the car, hang on, and if you scream, never just scream. People always hear it and think it's people joking around. Yell words, help, police, murder, help me, help me. Like, scream words so people can find you and keep yelling until someone comes to help you. What about self-protection?
We got a bunch more points here on self-protection. Okay, let's get
real
through
fast.
them.
We'll get through it. Don't put your keys between your fingers. People say, I put my keys between my fingers, and if he attacks me, your chance of doing real damage, trying to get the guy right in the eye with keys between your fingers is almost non-existent. If you're not trained, you'll have an adrenaline dump, you'll be shaking, and all you'll likely do is if you stab some guy in the face with your keys, you'll turn what was maybe a robbery into a murder. You'll put him into a rage and he might kill you. So that's not a proper method. Don't go to ATMs at night. Don't even go to gas stations at night. Avoid these things. Carry legal weapons, not lethal weapons, legal weapons. An umbrella. I've got an umbrella made of titanium that you can use to defend yourself. A cane, a folding knife, knives with blades that are short enough, like my spider co. I can have that out in 2 seconds and open. And if I brandish that, someone's going to reconsider. If someone pulls a knife on me, I'm going to smile and pull one back, and he's going to go, uh-oh. You got to be careful with that. Expandable batons, things that are legal. The question is, can you take it on a plane?
Find out.
A Smith & Wesson pen is one of the best things you can carry. You can take it anywhere in the world, just like a fighting cane.
I got one.
The pen is great. Navy SEALs have recommended this. You got this pen. It's a stabbing weapon. You jab him in the ribs with it. It'll leave you alone. If it's a lethal attack, blind him, stab him in the throat, jugular notch, whatever you're doing, make it work for you. It can save your life, and it's legal. A warning about knives. You've got to be trained to use one effectively. If you're not trained in knife fighting, don't pull out a knife. The Filipinos are amazing at knife fighting. The Chinese are amazing at knife fighting. The simplicity of the method we use comes from the Apaches, and the Apaches were phenomenal knife fighters. But unless you know what you're doing, he'll get the knife off you, and he'll use it on you. So be very, very careful. What about guns? Well, depends on where you live and whether you can carry concealed. In Florida, you can get a license really quickly, probably the easiest in the U.S. We don't get that in Canada. We don't carry guns. We don't have guns. Most of us don't. And, you know, we got a good friend who lives in Florida. He carries a Glock in an ankle holster when he goes out. I mean, that's very, very interesting. But unless you have a license, you can't do that. Do not punch people in a fight. It's not effective unless you are trained to punch. There's great punchers out there. You'll see videos, guys who can deliver the goods. They're good at it. Without training, you'll hurt yourself. Yeah. I had a good punch. I knocked a guy out on a hayride. This guy called Bolts was supposed to be a hard case. Poured wine over my wife's legs and my legs. I smacked him with a right cross and knocked him out. But I had to go to the hospital. I had my hand x-rayed. I hurt my hand.
Yeah.
Don't punch. Use unconventional
In
strikes.
British Jiu-Jitsu, we teach hard on soft and soft on hard.
Brilliant.
So if you're
That's the
hitting
actor said to the
somebody's face, you're using an open hand.
Open hand or axe hand or chin jab. Learn to fight. I hate to say it, but the UFC proved this to be true. Most martial arts will not work in the street. In the street, you don't wear pajamas and have bare feet. We train in street clothes with steel-toed boots. And I wear them all the time. They're a weapon. They're a legal weapon. The UFC proved most martial arts don't work. Fancy stuff will not work in the street. You get an adrenaline dump. You'll lose your fine motor skills. And if you think you're going to block this, then lift this, then turn this around, it won't work in the street. When your heart rate will go so high, you won't be able to put a key in a lock. Your hand will be shaking so much. The only thing left is gross motor moves, large moves of axe hand, whip kick to the knee, this sort of thing.
Yeah.
And learn simple moves that you can remember. You're better with 3 moves you can do anytime than 100 you can do half-assed, and that's a technical term. Remember, panic makes you stupid. And you have to breathe and think. Use your brain at the time. Go with your gut. My wife was in a cab. It seems like she's attacked all the time, but threatened with attack, but this has happened over decades. She was in a cab on Yonge Street, the longest street in the world, runs from Lake Ontario up to Hudson's Bay. And she was in the cab, uptown Toronto, and the cab driver, a woman crosses in front of the cab. She's in traffic, stop and go. And he said, that woman's rich. I hate rich people. And she's in the back seat. She goes, well, that's not very nice. He said, I hate rich people a lot. Maybe I should kill her. And she goes, what? And he said, you look rich to me. Maybe I should kill you. Now that's uttering threats. That's illegal.
That's F,
She
man.
freaked out so much, she'd forgotten. This is stop and go. She can just get out of the car.
Yeah.
She has a cell phone with her. She can call 911. I'm in the cab, this number, the driver. Totally lost the
you
picture
get out
in panic.
immediately.
Deer frozen in the headlights, yeah. And then you kill them. Just kidding. Only kidding. Our stuff works. Our stuff is pressure tested by the military.
I have a quick question for you on
Yeah.
this. So in that situation, the cab driver has just said crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Do you get out and leave?
Yeah, get out and
Or
leave.
do you give him $10 and say, thanks, I'm good.
Just leave. Leave right away. You don't owe him anything.
No.
Get a car, make some distance.
Like pay your
note
fare
the
or
number.
don't
Nope,
pay your
just
fare?
note the number.
Because that might anger him.
Who cares?
And he's already
in
demonstrated
traffic.
he's crazy.
You just get out of the car and you say, you're scaring me. I'm calling the police. You got the cab number. Get out of the cab. Get
Got
away
you.
from him. You've got to go back to, you're in orange now. That's not even yellow. That's orange. Yeah. So there's women's martial arts, which I've seen, and they're I've never seen one that's a very good one. Teaching women to stand in a horse stance with their hands on their fists on their hips.
Why would we need a specific martial
That's
art
the
for
point.
women? Yeah.
It's the same stuff. In fact,
We don't have men's martial arts. We just have martial arts.
I talked to a woman who was told, oh, you can get out of anybody's strangle if you do this. And she's doing it in her class. And then she said she went home and did it on her boyfriend and it didn't work. And so she kept trying, it didn't work. And she reported this to her instructor of this women's martial art. And the instructor said, well, he's being uncooperative. I said, unlike homicidal killers, you know, your techniques have to actually work. And if you think you're going to do this, and this, you're being strangled, it doesn't work. Hey, here's an easy one. Grab him on the back of the neck, pull him towards you, drive your thumbnail into the corner of his eye and scrape his cornea off. I guarantee if he's Arnold Schwarzenegger, you are out of that choke every single time.
Yeah.
Our stuff works. It's not nice, but it works. Remember the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy who wanted me to roll on the mat with him? So we had our British Jiu-Jitsu at Wenin, which is all military based. It's what James Bond would use if he's real. And they're doing some really good Brazilian stuff in the other. I have total respect for it. I did the Hicks and Gracie seminars. I rolled on the mat with Hicks and Gracie. I know it's a great system. But he said, you know, you guys should test your system. Come and roll on the mat with us. And I said, here's why I won't do that. If a boxer came up to you and said, we want you to get in the boxing ring, you can't use your system. You just have to punch. Would you do it? He said, well, of course not. I said, my system involves wearing steel-toed boots and carrying a freaking knife. I will cut you. That's my system. He said, well, we can't let you do that. And I said, we can't ever meet with this system and yours. You can't make me try to be a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighter when I'm not. It's not a sport.
It is not really a martial art and is not a sport.
Right.
It is a defense system.
Hand-to-hand combat. Running away is the best option. Get in kick-ass shape. I was reading a thing for seniors the other day in one of these health magazines, and it said, because the quads are important as you get older because you're getting up from the can or out of a chair, you should work up to doing 8 squats, maybe 10 twice, 2 sets. I said, I do 200 for crying out loud. Who wants to be that kind of old guy? I want to be able to run to get away from this guy and then kill him when he catches me, or at least save my own life. Don't pay attention to what I said. But running away is the best option. Doug Ashton, police trainer, Peel.
Yeah.
He told in a seminar of women's self-defense how to use proper things. One woman was in Mississauga walking by a long forest, open area, not really too populated at night. She hears footsteps. She's got some situational awareness, looks back. There's a guy following her. She speeds up. He speeds up. She panics, runs into the woods to get away, and was raped and almost murdered. You have to be aware of what you can do and don't run into a situation that's going to make it even worse for you. The best fight is the one you never have. Avoid it. Avoid it. You're better to run away. It's not cowardice. It's self-preservation. Psychos do not respond to pleading or reason. You plead with a rapist not to hurt you. It sets them off. That's what they want. It's not going to stop them. You have to strike effectively and then run away. Strike to cause an injury. The most neglected targets on the human body for self-protection are the eyes and the legs.
And the throat.
People think of the throat. They don't realize the legs. We call it defanging the snake. If you take away his ability to walk, kick right under the kneecap with a whip kick as hard as you can and then run, he's not going to be getting up in any hurry. He might need surgery if you do it right. Don't defend. Attack the SOB. You have to be a predator. You've got to turn it on him. Use your adrenaline dump, which will make you stronger and faster, and use it to save your life. Don't give in to the person. Remember, I said the encounter, Louise, we did the case working with York Regional Police, and she was attacked, and she fought back immediately, and the would-be rapist fled the scene. And she's a little woman. She fought back and went crazy. You say to people, could you hold on to a cat that has claws if it wanted to get down? People say, no, rip me apart.
Yeah.
And you say, that's what you do if a guy attacks you.
Be the cat.
Be like a cat. Bite and scratch.
Yeah. If you have no other skills, that's
do that.
Instinctual
Go rat
stuff.
snake.
Yeah.
In Canada and most of the world, you're allowed to respond with equal force. Better be judged by 12 than carried by 6. If someone threatens me with a knife, that's lethal force. I am prepared to take that person's life at that point because I'd rather fight it in court. I'm not going to take a chance. You have to look at the laws where you are. Rick Watts and I were in a bar years ago. We'd just seen the movie Popeye, Robin Williams. It was a crap movie, even though it was Robin Williams. And Rick was dressed really preppy, and we're just 2 guys, and there's 2 rough-looking guys on the other side of this round bar downtown. And they're looking at us, and I can see they're looking, and they're going to try to, cause some sort of problem with us. They're getting aggressive and they're looking at us and looking at Rick and sort of laughing, and they've got this thing happening. And I just reached over, took my pint of beer. Made eye contact, took a mouthful of it, and went and let the beer run down onto my shirt as I kept my eyes staring at them, grinning. And they both got up and just left.
You pulled the Tommy Shelby.
Right. Yeah, do the Tommy Shelby. That's it. It's the blank stare. If you can master the blank stare, which is showing no emotion at all, Tom Pateri teaches this. It's this. You're neither accelerating or you're neither raising it up the scale of violence, nor are you decelerating or dropping it. What's not accelerating, decelerating?
Yeah.
Help me, you're an engineer.
It's flatlined.
Yeah.
It's no emotion. It's zero reaction. It's scary because you have no idea what the heck is going on in that person's head.
That's it.
And most horror movies are blank expressioned.
I mean,
crazy
Tommy Shelby,
people.
watch Peaky Blinders, like you said. He has it mastered to an art. Somebody be on his case in that. He doesn't even pay attention. He's just so completely calm and fearless. Finally, how should you open your door if there's a knock at 3 a.m.? How are you going to do it?
You don't.
That's it. That's the right answer. You don't open your door at 3 a.m. People say, well, I do it with a gun around the corner. No, if somebody comes to your door at 3 a.m., it's either the police or a criminal. It's somebody claiming their car broke down. So yell through the door. Okay, I'll call the police I'll call the tow truck service, whatever.
Yeah.
Don't let them in. This is my rule. You never let them in, because once they're in.
They're in.
They're in. So, Chris, give us the empowering question.
All right, here you go. For episode 236, let's go with this. Sorry, not 236. What am I talking about? It's 246. I'm looking at the title of our document wrong there. All right.
Start again.
What have I learned today about avoiding dangerous situations, and how will I make sure I increase my situational awareness and avoid unnecessary dangers?
Fantastic.
That's right.
There's no Metafive. This is all Metafive.
Yeah.
And better than a metaphor. Keep aware of your surroundings. That's the most important thing. Get the color scale down and know when to exit the area. Last in, first out.
There you go.
And you can be safe from a lot
Buddy,
of
I got
confrontations.
an idea. How about we do episode 247 about some of the linguistic aspects of this?
Okay, so
that
tactical
when
communication.
because obviously we got the physical stuff that we can't really teach on a podcast anyway, although it might be fun to produce something like the Billy course. How to use a pen as a weapon in that. Anyway, that's cool. But there's a lot of stuff that you can do with words and body language, and I think that might be a good podcast.
And we could put other things too. That's a very good point, because one of the best weapons, improvised, defensive, is the old TV guide they used to sell.
Ha.
One of my senseis taught me that you roll it up tight, becomes a Yawara stick, sticks out of both ends of your hands.
Yeah, now it's
up into the throat.
Yeah.
Amazing.
All right, we'll talk more about this.
Thanks, guys.
I think that's what we're going to do for the next podcast.
Now we're going to go out and
see you.
Go in some dangerous areas. Not.
And it's already 2024 by the time this goes live. But since we're recording it before, we're going to say Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year.
And thanks once again.
And good night.